Of the day, it's been looked upon as the mother of all tax reforms, and if all goes well, it shall be a reality soon. Now, Finance Minister Arun Jaitley today tabled the 4 bills aimed at rolling out the much-awaited goods and services tax and usher in landmark tax reforms. This even as Congress MPs protested that it was not a part of the list of business and hence can't be tabled. The 4 bills that were introduced in the Lok Sabha today are the Central GST, the Integrated GST, the Union Territory GST and the Compensation GST bills. Now, these bills have been introduced as money bills and will be debated on the 29th of March. Now, remember, like the budget, a money bill can be passed by the Lok Sabha even if the Rajya Sabha rejects it. For more details and highlights from the GST bills presented in the Lok Sabha, we are now joined by Sapna and Rituparna. Ritu, coming to you first, take us to the key takeaways.
On 29th, 7 hours has been allotted by the Business Advisory Committee for discussion on all the 4 bills. The CGST bill is the biggest one with 21 chapters and 174 clauses, while the compensation bill only has 14 clauses in a single chapter. Let me take you through some quick fine print of the IGST bill, where the bill has said that countervailing duty and special additional duty on customs that will be subsumed into the IGST. Also, the central government will have powers to exempt IGST, and also supplies and exports to special economic zones will be zero rated. Last but not the least, from what we have, we could make out from the fine print of the IGST, we see that any foreign tourist buying goods in India will be able to refund the GST taxes at the port of departure, which means that all the taxes that he or she had paid while buying goods in India will be refunded in airports. But Sapna has more from the fine print on the CGST and the compensation bill. Sapna, over to you.
Thanks, Ritu. That more or less sums up, as my colleague Rituparna was pointing out, a lot of issues. Now, broadly, what we have understood so far from a very layman's perspective is that most of the provisions are as they had been discussed earlier. For example, this was also pretty much well known that there will be a GST compensation fund that will be set up. It will be a non-lapsable fund that will be set up for 5 years for compensation to states on the rollout of GST. Any losses incurred on that. The payments are going to be made on a bi-monthly basis. Also, the assumed rate of growth for such compensation will be around 14%. To generate these resources, there will be a cess that will be levied on certain items, in which are basically pan masala, tobacco and manufactured tobacco products. There's of course going to be the coal cess, which is going to be part of this compensation cess. It will be subsumed into that. Aerated waters, motor cars and so on. So more or less, on a quick read, we understand that most of these provisions are as they are. Also, in terms of the capping of rates, well, the CGST bill proposes a rate not exceeding 20%, and the IGST bill also proposes a rate not exceeding 40%, because that is going to be an intersupply of goods and services. Also, in terms of the CGST bill, the anti-profiteering clause has been included. That was also being discussed earlier. Also, there will be a complete a judicial redressal system. An appellate authority will be set up. In some of the other provisions, like there will be a 1% TCS on e-commerce traders, stuff like that. So these are provisions which are very well known. We just need to wait for some more time and see that what else turns up in the fine print. Also, as an alert again, of course, the state of J&K will not be covered under the IGST and the SGST laws most likely, but they are part of the compensation law, which means that they will be eligible for compensation, which probably indicates that they will try to rejig their own state tax laws down the line, and there will be some indication on that front.
All right, Sapna and Ritu, thanks for taking